everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little black subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that black subscribe button. Really does help our audience grow, really does help our channel grow, really does help and mean more than you could possibly know. So go ahead, hit that little black subscribe button. Also, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Betfred Sportsbook and the Betfred Sportsbook app. Bet 50 on any game, get $250 in free bets. Thank you again to Betfred. Thank you again to you. Now, here is the video. All right, everybody. I am back. Good to be back. Good to be back. I do want to switch gears, and I do want to hit on a topic that we have hit on quite a bit here on the Aaron Torres pod over really the last 5 or 6 weeks, and a topic that I suspect we are going to hit on quite a bit going forward over the next 5 or 6 weeks, and that is Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, this was a topic that we hit on all throughout the coaching carousel. Deion Sanders, where could he land? Where would he end up? Where would he be a natural fit? He was coaching at Jackson State. On Sunday, it becomes official. And on Monday's show, we talked a lot about a lot of different things. We talked about why I think it's a great fit, why I don't blame him for leaving Jackson State, why I believe he is going to have a ton of success, why this is great for Colorado, the Pac-12, college football in general. So that is what has happened. We are certainly going to be talking about him going forward because of the transfer portal and recruiting. But what I want to hit on today, on Tuesday's show, is pretty straightforward. Because Deion Sanders, in less than 24 hours as Colorado's head coach, he's already making headlines. He's already making people uncomfortable. And to be blunt, he's sort of kind of pissing people off. And I love every second of it. What happened, you ask? You're probably thinking to yourself, well, here's what happened. Deion Sanders gets introduced on Sunday, and because it's 2022, right? Like everything that happens in this world, there's a camera there. And obviously, look, he's trying to build the brand, get people excited. And so Deion Sanders and the Colorado social media staff decided that they were going to put out a clip from his first meeting with the team. I want to read you some of the quotes that came out via that first meeting, because boy, oh boy, did Deion Sanders not hold back what his thoughts are on the state of the program, the players that are in the program, and what his plans are going forward. Here's what Deion Sanders said to his team. I'm going to read the quote verbatim. He said, "We got a few positions already taken care of because I'm bringing my own luggage with me, and it's Louis." Okay. So the reference, of course, is I'm bringing some of my players with me. The reference to luggage is players. And when he says Louis, I'm not very smart, but I think he's talking Louis Vuitton. In other words, I'm bringing some big-time players with me, so you boys better get ready, okay? He continued. He said, "Ain't going to be no more the mess that these wonderful fans, the student body, and some of your parents have put up with for probably 2 decades now." He continued, "I'm coming. And when I get there, it's going to be changed. So I want y'all to get ready to go ahead and jump in that portal and do whatever you're going to get, because the more of you jump into the portal, the more room you make, because we bring kids that are smart and tough." Boy, oh boy, oh boy, did Deion Sanders deliver a message in about 3 paragraphs. And of course, because it's social media, people started to get upset and, oh my goodness, he's forcing these players to leave and we should feel so bad, and bleeding hearts, and let's shed tears for all of these players. But I'll be blunt. I love the message from Deion Sanders. And I think, as usual, as with most stuff on social media, I think a lot of people completely misunderstood the message. I don't think the message was largely what Deion was actually trying to say. And I think when you kind of get what he was trying to say, I think you have no problem with it. And that's on top of the fact that you probably should have no problem with it anyway, because if we recorded every meeting between every player and every coach and every new coach and players, it could get a lot worse than that. But in terms of this one specifically, here is why I had no problem, because again, I think it was largely misconstrued. Now, to be clear, he did tell some players, some of you are going to have to jump in the portal. Okay. And so there's no kind of ducking that or avoiding that or pretending it didn't happen. And I do think, like, if Deion had his druthers, I'm guessing that he would probably be very happy if a lot of those players left Colorado. Why is that? Because let's be blunt, they're not very good. Colorado went 1-11 this year. They were probably the worst team in the Power 5. And so, yes, Deion did say some of y'all need to get into the portal because you're not going to play here. Personally, I have no problem with that, and I will tell you why. It is because that is a message that literally 130 other FBS coaches are delivering right now to their teams and to their players. Now, not all of them are recorded. Not all of them are broadcast. But if you paid attention to the portal on Monday, like I told you to, like we just discussed a minute ago, you know that it was crazy. And if you look at most of the players that are entering the portal, it's not the 5 stars. It's not the DJs. It's not the Spencer Sanders. It's not the Dorian Singers from Arizona. It's mostly back end of the bench guys that aren't playing anyway. Alabama, as an example, they already have 10 guys that are in the transfer portal from this year's team. Now, one of them's a starter, but the rest of them, you know what they are? Guys that were never going to play anyway, guys that were problems, guys that were already kicked off of the team. And so if Nick Saban's doing it, of course Deion Sanders is going to do it. By the way, on top of that, I have heard of programs like good teams that are probably going to have 20, 25, 30 players hit the portal this year. And so I have no problem with Deion Sanders saying some of you guys need to get in the portal. Some of you guys aren't good enough, because that's literally a conversation that every single coaching staff in America is having with players right now. And by the way, I hate to tell you, everybody that gets upset, I think, frankly, players are kind of receptive to that. I think players appreciate honesty of, you know what, you're probably not big enough, fast enough, strong enough. You can stay here, but the likelihood of you getting on this field is not very good. I know that, listen, I wasn't a very good player in my day. I know I would have appreciated a coach telling me that. And so, one, I don't think the players really had a problem with it. But two, and this is the important part, I don't necessarily think that Deion's overall message actually means what you think it means. And what do I mean by that? Well, listen to that second part of the message. Everyone's focused on him telling players, you got to hit the portal. There's no room for you here. Here is what he said, the second part of the message, and I'm going to read it again. He said, ain't going to be no more the mess that these wonderful fans, the student body, and some of your parents have put up with for probably 2 decades now. What is Deion saying right there? Because to me, I believe that's the crux of the message. And what Deion is saying in that moment, in this second, is this. You guys have been doing things a certain way here since you've been here and since before any of y'all even got here. And it isn't good enough. These students deserve better. This fan base, this alumni base, this school, this university, anyone that has ever had any affiliation with this school deserves better than what you're putting out right now. And so you're either going to get on board with us or you have to get out. And so to me, I have no problem with Deion's comments, because that's a great message. First of all, it is a message that every new coach gives to every team when he arrives, right? As a matter of fact, you know who I've seen give this message before? It's Deion Sanders when he went to Jackson State. When Deion Sanders went to Jackson State, and I've talked about it before on this show, Barstool Sports did a great 8-part documentary on his first season at Jackson State. It was during COVID. But I was blown away because in his first team meeting at Jackson State, he said the same thing. He said, some of you guys, you're not cut out for this. Not because you're not good people, not because you're not good football players. But are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to go to classes? Are you willing to stay out of trouble? Are you willing to stay in on Friday nights? Are you willing not to chase girls? Are you willing not to, smoke this and drink that when the focus needs to be football? And he said, some of you guys just aren't committed enough and you got to go. And that is the same message that he is delivering here. And so actually the message not only is not what you think it is, it's actually the exact opposite. It is that I have had success. I know what it takes to win at the highest level. And you're either going to get with me or you're going to get out. I'm not saying it's the Bo Schembechler or those who stay will be champions. But what Deion's saying is your way doesn't work. You guys aren't committed enough. You guys, and in some cases, yes, you guys aren't good enough, but you're not committed enough. You're not working hard enough. You're not whatever. You're not lifting hard enough. You're not getting up early enough. You're not staying up late enough. You're not focused enough academically. You're spending too much time partying. And those are things that we are not going to tolerate here, because it's been tolerated for too long, and you're embarrassing your team and you're embarrassing your school and you're embarrassing your family. And so for anybody that has any problem with Deion saying it, you're missing the message, or like some of those Colorado football players, not all of them, but like some of them, you're part of the problem. You've accepted mediocrity in your life. Somebody has allowed you to accept mediocrity in your life. You're not doing the things that you need to do to be the best you can be, to compete at the highest level, to have the highest level of success. That is what Deion Sanders is saying. Again, listen to the message. Ain't going to be no more the mess that these wonderful fans, the student body, and some of your parents have put up with for 20 plus years. The message isn't you guys got to get out of here because you're losers. The message is you guys aren't working hard enough, and we are going to hold you to the highest standard. And again, it goes back to a lot of what Deion said in his introductory press conference. He said, when people got mad at him for leaving Jackson State, he said, I'm not here to help just a group of 85 guys. I'm here to help all young people, different races, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, guys and girls. And that's essentially what he's saying. I am going to hold you to the highest level, and you are either going to get with us or you are going to move on. So as usual, in the least surprising news ever, social media misinterpreted what Deion said, but to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with it. And as a matter of fact, I absolutely loved it. I loved the fact that Deion, as the kids say, he kept it real. He kept it 100. And I think that's the message that, frankly, these Colorado football players need right now.